We'd like to welcome everyone back to the Unnamed Podcast, episode 4. It's come so quickly. Never thought we'd get to that point, Diante, episode 4. But we're here, bro. We made it. We're happy that people are still listening. And this week we have 2 guests for our listeners. Very good friends of mine. I met them in the Bahamas. Quinn, do you want to introduce yourself to all of our listeners?
My name is Reginald Quinn. For those who know me, you can call me Quinn from the Bahamas. I love water.
Thank you for that very descriptive introduction. We really appreciate that. Malik.
My name is Malik. I'm also from the Bahamas. I don't know what else to say.
No, that's great. At least we know you guys' names, and we know that Quinn likes water. So that's very insightful for our listeners. So basically what we want to do today, we're going to talk to our 2 guests. We're going to have our lightning round. We're going to do basically what we do every week. But this time we have 2 representatives from another country on the podcast, which is exciting. So we'll go ahead and get started with our lightning round. For all of those that don't know what that is, it's where we have our guests answer as many questions as they can in 2 minutes. So it may be a little difficult for those that haven't been on the show before, and I know you guys haven't, but I think you're going to be able to handle it. So our lightning round, here we go. So Quinn, have you ever been on a podcast?
Yes, once.
Once, okay. Malik?
No, never.
Well, welcome to the very first podcast that you've ever been on. In case people are wondering what that is Quinn doing sound effects with his phone. I said that he could do that, and I'm regretting that now. Okay, Quinn, what part of the Bahamas are you born in, bro?
I was born in Sunrise Medical Center in Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Malik, where were you born?
I was also born in Freeport, Grand Bahama, but at the Rand Memorial Hospital.
Oh, that kind of sounds like a funeral home.
It should be.
If you could pick the biggest difference between the U.S. and the Bahamas, what would it be, Quinn?
Maybe the speed of progress. I don't know what you call it.
Like everyday life speed?
No, it's more like the way things move and innovated in the States versus the Bahamas.
Okay.
And how quickly the people grasp onto that.
Makes sense. What about you, Malik?
I'd say it's probably the growing politically correct culture in the U.S. We don't have that at all in the Bahamas.
Okay.
There's definitely adjustment whenever we go to the States.
Right. Yeah, I believe that. So what is the biggest Bahamian misconception that you hear?
Somebody told me that, and this is actually true. It sounds very dumb because it is, but somebody told me that we ride on dolphins.
And they honestly believe that?
I have ridden on a dolphin before, but it's not common and it's not comfortable.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Malik, what is the biggest Bahamian misconception that you've heard?
Probably that we live in huts.
Okay.
So, no. Actually, the vast majority of Americans believe that the Bahamas is part of the U.S., and it's mind-boggling.
You know what? I have to admit that for a time I kind of thought that too. I didn't realize that they were part of Britain, right?
You mean that you were dumb at one point in your life?
Yeah, I was dumb at one point in my
Hey,
life.
don't insult the listeners.
So thank you for blessing me with this knowledge because now I know.
Yeah, so obviously that's a big misconception because I thought that at one point, and apparently Diante thought that 20 seconds ago. Okay, so a little more serious question now. How many hurricanes have you guys made it through?
I'm probably just going to list them, to be honest. Jean,
Okay.
Francis, Katrina, Wilma, Emily. Was that a hurricane? I don't know.
It
It
was.
is now.
Matthew. I wouldn't count Dorian.
Wow, that is insane. And you
So I've
said
been through 8.
8. We've been through 0, obviously, because Ohio doesn't get hurricanes at all. So we're at 4 minutes right now. We've kind of defied the rules of the lightning round, so I apologize to all of our listeners for that. Our next question is, what do you like to do for fun? And Quinn, I can see you're cracking up.
I like to go out on the boat a lot, jet ski. I'll go fishing for sure, rock fishing. I'll go spear fishing every now and again. And
I'd like to try that.
definitely hanging with friends.
Well, I just like to note that I love that Quinn kept his so Bahamianized. But yeah, for me, I mean, just going to the movies, hanging out, playing cards, dominoes, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, dominoes. I remember that from my time in the Bahamas. So you know what? We're going to skip to our last question because we've gone far over 2 minutes. The last question should be very easy to answer, I hope. Who is your favorite friend from Ohio? Don't all speak at once.
There was this kid
Don't tell a
named
lie.
Dalton.
That's a little hard.
There was this kid named there was
He
this
likes
kid who
it.
worked on this LDC project with me when I was in Freeport. He had brown hair, very narrow face.
He was from Ohio.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
So you're
He
telling
was
me
a big friend.
that you know 2 people from Ohio.
I know 3.
3. Do you have any
I can't
names?
remember that. No,
Wow,
but I do.
but do you remember my name?
It says Garrett.
Okay, Malik,
His
you
name
know
is
what?
So
Gary.
Yeah.
where do I fall on this list? Just wondering.
Nah, for sure. Garrett is the first person I've made an actual connection with from Ohio.
Yeah, see?
Oh,
A solid
dang, that's
connection
I
with that.
love how you just ignored Deontay's question.
I didn't know Diante's last name was Melton. That caught me off guard. So I'm sorry.
There's this really tall guy. I don't know if you've heard of him, LeBron James.
He is from Ohio. I will give you know what? Props to you for knowing that LeBron James is from Ohio. But I know that your real answer is me. I'm your favorite friend from Ohio.
That's very humble of you, Gary.
I don't need you
But
to
yeah.
say that to know it. So we're going to move on to our actual topics. I know a big part of, well, at least what I know about the Bahamas is that hurricanes are a big part of everyday life for the most part. Am I wrong in saying that?
Nah, you're correct.
Okay. And like I said, most of the listeners that I have are from Ohio at this point. So we really don't know a whole lot about hurricanes because all we see is what's on the news. So I thought we could talk about that for a little bit, maybe get some more perspective on hurricanes and how they affect, people that we know that have to go through them on a regular basis. So the first question that I thought would be unique to answer from a good perspective is, do you ever get used to them? Is there ever a point where you've been through so many of them that you're just like, you know what, it is what it is?
I'd say yes and no. In those situations where you think that you would be in such a panic, you're not. I'd say that there have been some hurricanes where it's just like routine. You board up the windows, stay in the house. We got gas stoves, so you're cooking like how you normally would. Lights are out, you check on everybody after. You get the idea of what happens. I guess it's just not something that you look forward to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Malik, what about you? Have you ever found yourself getting used to hurricanes, or what's your perspective on that?
To an extent, and I think partially that's because where I currently live and I've been living for the past 5 years, we don't really get hit by hurricanes that badly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely become more of a routine. I mean, you kind of just know what to do.
Right.
Like Quinn said, board up the windows, buy stuff. It's just a routine mostly.
So you become more experienced with it. You don't necessarily get used to it and that you're comfortable with it happening, but you have education on what to do. So when thinking of hurricanes, is there a specific experience that was the most frightening in your time with hurricanes?
I'm gonna say Dorian because of the fact that our area never got flooded. Our area there was a lot of heavy pressure winds,
Mm-hmm.
but it never got, really affected. You hear everything moving, but nothing ever broke, nothing like that. Dorian was the first time that we saw things start to come directly into our area. We had to exit. We didn't really have to, but we left, and we had a truck, but even the truck was up to its axis in water.
Wow.
It was definitely something that I'd never experienced before.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't get floods around here. I mean, Mansfield floods a little bit, but nothing like what you're explaining at all. Malik, what about you?
A mean snowstorm.
Yeah, we do get a mean snowstorm every now and then, but not even that recently. We kind of get mellow winters. But Malik, how about you? Can you think of a scary experience that you've had to go through?
The only thing that I can remember that was particularly scary, but I was kind of young, so I don't remember all the details, was Hurricane Jean, which was 2004. But that's like one of my earliest memories because it was pretty scary. Like I remember windows breaking, the door breaking, water coming in. So we had to leave our house, go to another house. I don't remember too much details. I remember how bad the city looked after the hurricane.
Right.
My school got tore right up. The road to the Kingdom Hall was like traumatizing how bad it looked. That's what I remember.
I've been saying over and over, I've never went through a hurricane, but being in Abaco, the distress that you see afterwards is definitely, it impacts you a lot. So I can definitely believe that.
I want to make it a point for anybody who's watching this or listening to this and knows Malik. Malik had the exact same head, but just a smaller body. So
How
just
is that
imagine that
relevant?
facial expression. They just need to
How is that
envision the
relevant?
destruction on the road, bro.
Oh, okay.
Weren't
We
you
might have to.
chunkier back then, Quinn, too? You were pretty big back then, weren't you?
Dang,
He
bro,
was
you ain't have to
husky.
tell me
He
that.
was husky.
I have much better pictures of baby Quinn.
No, we all went through a phase where our heads were just a little too big, but thankfully most of us grow into our heads, so that's a blessing. One thing that we have in common, me, Quinn, and Malik, and hopefully Diante in the near future, is that we all assist in disaster relief. So I thought we could talk about that for a little bit. But is there a lesson that disaster relief has really brought to your attention or taught you?
Definitely more so, I guess, no, two of them are equal. It does teach you like a sacrificing spirit, but it also helps you to understand humility
Mm-hmm.
and working with other people and realizing that it's not about you or it's not about them, but more so about accomplishing what needs to get accomplished.
Yep.
So that's one that I've learned. And also the benefit that you get from giving yourself, especially if you've gone through a lot. And I'm saying that from my experience, yes, but I've seen it more so with other people who've gone through worse than me.
Mm-hmm.
And they also help with disaster relief or hurricane relief efforts. And the
Yeah.
joy, you could tell when joy is genuine. Most of the time, you could tell when joy is genuine versus when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big benefit to look at and see.
Absolutely. How about you, Malik?
For me, so I've had the privilege of helping out after Dorian, both Freeport and Abaco. I remember this one experience. I got the privilege to work on the worst house in Grand Bahama. So we're all getting together. We're cleaning like massive gunk. I mean, like the gunk was up to the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
We're doing all of that. We're searching through looking for valuable things. We found this 55-year-old glass that the brother really loved,
Oh, wow.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yet, their member of parliament, the representative for their area, passed by. He's coming with all his people and the cameras and entourage
Mm-hmm.
to come and give like some famous Amos as his
Right.
form of relief. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it really impressed on me that Joe's organization really does take care of its people. And we even have the privilege to help out other people who aren't Joe's witnesses,
Mm-hmm.
which just really just shows this is the best organization to be part of.
Nice point. So I thought we'd talk about where we met for a minute. In case anyone's wondering, and Deontay, feel free to jump in with any questions you have too. But me, Quinn, and Malik met doing disaster relief in the Bahamas just actually a couple months ago in February. We were on the island of Abaco. Now, Abaco, is that one of the lesser known islands? Because when I heard I was going to Abaco, I was like, okay, where is Abaco? Like, is that is that part of the Bahamas? Where in the picture of the Bahamas is it? Because I had no idea. But we had a lot of fun there. So I was thinking, is there any specific funny stories that you can think of that our listeners would enjoy hearing?
About that period of time when I met you guys.
Anything. I mean, Abaco, stories involving you and Malik, whatever you think.
Well, I'll let you know, and I'll let the listeners use their imagination on this one. The first time I met Garrett, the nasally voice, it was very interesting because first of all, I thought Garrett was about 23 just because of this guy's, brawn, and
Thanks, bro.
he had
He was chunky before you met him. That's just
I
like a
know,
new
I've
adult.
seen that.
Yeah, he was a little. He was like a Michelin man. He was.
I was a
fat,
porker.
man.
Oh man, I wasn't the Michelin man.
The
Nah,
Michelin
he's too
man.
pink, bro.
I mean, he
too
wasn't
pink.
cute.
Wow, bro.
But this guy had on a banana shirt.
Oh yeah.
And I'll just let the listeners use that out. But you know what? I think we played. I can't even remember what game we played, but turns out we were there were like dorm rooms, and we were sleeping in the same dorm.
When Quinn says dorm, it wasn't a dorm. We were literally sleeping, and it turned out to be really nice, but we were literally sleeping in a shipping container. The things that
Yes,
you
we
see
were.
on the back of semi trucks going down the highway, that's what we were sleeping in. And it turned out to be really nice.
It
But
was
when
either
I
super
first
hot or super cold.
right, but thankfully the super cold parts were during the night, which I know Quinn hated, but us Ohio boys, we needed it cold in there. And Quinn was over in the corner freezing.
and I couldn't get a blanket. I had to find a blanket like 2 times a week.
But me and Dad, man, we were comfortable. We didn't complain at all. But Quinn always
I
woke up and
know,
he's like, Quinn always woke up and he'd look at me and he'd be like, Garrett, does it need to be so cold in here, bro? Like, dang, it's cold in here, man. Can we turn
That
it
is
up
the
to
best
75?
Bahamian accent ever.
That was literally every morning. And I'd be like, bro, there are 4 other guys in here that love it that cold. So you have to scale the mountain if you want that to happen.
bro. I was sneezing like crazy. I think I had corona and nobody even knew.
You had Corona before it was cool.
Real.
Malik, what about you? You think of any funny stories from Abaco 2020?
The only thing that comes, I didn't want to tell this story, but it's the only thing that comes to my mind.
Oh no.
So we had outside showers, as in, it was a normal shower, but you could see out in the stars, and it's like outside stalls. I just remember one day after meeting, just going to go shower, and then I hear, I don't want to say his name, but he's like, "Come on, bro, let's start singing, bro." And he started singing, and he's like, "I don't hear any more singing from you guys." So naturally, me, the other brother, and the other sister started joining him in song as well. It was interesting.
And you know what's interesting about that too is that happened multiple times because I have an experience that involved that too.
I was stuck with Big Chef and the other guy. So I don't know. I don't know if they just go to the shower together at the same time.
And let me like paraphrase what Quinn's saying a little bit. These showers are separate. It wasn't like a group shower. So it wasn't like they were taking a shower together.
Shower.
It was just they were taking a shower at the same time, which seemed to happen almost every night.
I can't remember. I think I was doing insanity, being constructive.
You got to explain what insanity is for those that don't know.
7:30 on the slab,
Okay.
bro.
So every night at 7:30, excluding Saturdays and Sundays, occasionally, we would do the video workout called Insanity with Sean T, and it was headed by a very large man. So not much motivation there, but
you guys had fun.
Yeah, Tom Paul was doing high knees, and it was very interesting to see a tall leprechaun do high knees.
Don't forget the bug that followed us. I was biting.
Oh, wow,
that was disgusting.
Yeah, but not to like change oars in the stream for our listeners, so quickly. But the difference between Bahamian bugs and Ohio bugs is great. And this bug literally chased us from the beach, which was like a mile away, to the hub where we were staying for an entire mile. And we even started running at one point because we were legitimately frightened. And it still followed us. It was flying at the same speed of adult men. It was the most insane thing ever. I had to run into where I was sleeping and hide from this bug. It chased us for so long.
It was pretty.
What was it? A mosquito?
We don't know.
We don't know.
It was just
a bug. Definitely not a mosquito, though.
Yeah, the thing I would liken it to for people that live in Ohio is a deer fly. Deer flies are angry little flies, and this was a lot like that. It chased you, and it had a chip on its shoulder until it bit you. Long story short, we had a lot of fun times in Abaco. So let's try to get this back on topic a little bit. I guess we're kind of on topic. Was there a favorite experience or favorite part of it that you guys picked out?
My favorite part was I got a chance to work on the house of a brother and sister that I'd stayed with prior when I was in Abaco. And that was actually also probably my favorite crew. Unfortunately, Garrett wasn't a part of that crew, but because they didn't want us together.
Yeah, we didn't.
Quinn was there. Clay was there. Shout out to Calvin and Dominique and the rest. But that was a really nice experience. I think when me, Quinn, and Garrett was on the roof together, that was also really nice as well.
Yeah, that was fun. I love how we were on that side of the roof for 3 hours, taking off the shingles and the paper underneath. And then there was a brother on the other side by himself. TP got just as much work done as 3 of us in the same amount of time. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen.
But he's a monster.
Yeah, he is.
Tom Paul is definitely a maniac.
Yeah, absolutely.
Animal.
I'd say for me, definitely working with people like Malik, Clay, Garrett, people that I could really call friends. Learning a lot about myself and other people. Definitely making that connection because the last time I used to go to Abaco every year. I had cousins that used to live in Abaco. and I used to go there every year, so I know the majority of the people there. And working on their homes was sort of surreal because you see them again, and then like, oh, you grow so big. That's
Right.
besides the point. But it's just making that connection, that nostalgic feeling that you get when you see people and you never thought that you'd be in a position to give them something or help them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with both of you. A lot of good experiences. Diante, do you have any questions? You've been kind of quiet, man.
No, I'm just soaking in how lame my life is, but I'll just continue listening.
Bro,
to
you having a red scarf. Your life is the epitome of pizzazz.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
You do have like a red bandana on.
May the record show that Diante is wearing a red scarf right now for some reason.
Do you want to talk about that, Diante? What's up with the red scarf?
The red scarf? It's just showing you my gangsterness.
How effective do you think that is right now?
To showing off my gangsterness?
Yes.
How effective? I think I showed you guys my dominance pretty quickly.
You just look like the main character in anime.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Hey, I like the red scarf, bro. Keep it. We'd like to thank everyone that was listening today. We apologize if it was a little dysfunctional, but when you have 4 people, it's hard to not talk over each other when you're on Zoom. Thank you for listening. We hope the information that we were talking about was entertaining, maybe give you a little insight into hurricanes, how they affect the ones that we know that have to go through them, and what happens after the hurricane during disaster relief. So we hope that was information that you found interesting. We'd like to remind you that the podcast is on Instagram now, so go ahead and give us a follow at The Unnamed Podcast with dots in between each word. For today, we're going to wrap up this episode of the podcast. My name's Garrett.
My name's Diante.
My name's Quinn.
My name's Malik.
And this has been The Unnamed Podcast.